I'm Amanda and we lived in a top floor flat in the harbour area in Folkestone with a tiny little balcony space as an outdoor space through the lockdown. Obviously it wasn't great. We didn't really see our neighbours. We saw them when we crossed the big blue door. We didn't really talk to them as much. We had an elderly neighbour at the time. If we saw her, we'd say, do you want us to bring the shopping up, or do you want us to bring the... But obviously it was distant community. We didn't really spend a lot of time. We'd done obviously the clapping things on a Thursday. That was kind of cool. That's a good core memory. But again, it was just us that did it. It wasn't really the whole block that did it. We found it really difficult living in a flat with no garden. Obviously Terrance was so young. He'd just turned 5 and he was just not understanding it. Obviously we couldn't go outside. He's such an outside kid. He's an outdoorsy kid. When we went out, we'd done an hour walk each day. We used to go to the beach and just put our hands in the sand and imagine that we had our toes in the sand, especially when it warmed up. We used to just use the beach a lot because it was such a big, wide open space. The daily routine was quite an interesting routine. We obviously got up, had breakfast and things. My partner would usually go to work quite early in the mornings, so it was just me and Terrance in the day. Obviously sort home learning out. Home learning tended to be building bricks, so like using Lego, because he just refused to do anything else. So we incorporated a lot of Lego into his home learning. When we went shopping, that was quite hard, and obviously a 5-year-old did not want to wear a mask, so that obviously it wasn't mandatory for him to wear one. And again, money, I was on a lot less money than what I was meant to be on, so we sort of just compromised on a lot of things, and a lot of money went on learning resources. I think it shaped me to how I am today because I budget a lot more than what I used to. My mental health wasn't great during the lockdown due to obviously being so isolated. We used to go to my nan's every Saturday, and it was just a big family, like all like extended family there, so aunts, uncles, cousins. Even like Terrance really struggled not bond, like he's an only child. He struggled not having anyone to talk to that was his own age. I coped with my mental health by obviously meditating. That helped quite a lot. A lot of self-care, a lot of hair masks, a lot of pampering, like just having me time, because having a young child in tow all day as a shadow was not cool for your brain. My relationships with my family over that time definitely grew stronger. We definitely done more phone calls. We definitely done a lot more FaceTime and a lot more, obviously, sending each other cards where we could. My partner and I, obviously, relationship was a little bit strained due to him working, and my anxiety was just everywhere. So he works public facing. He's a bus driver. And obviously, I thought every time he'd get COVID and give it to us when we got home. Within the community, we didn't really get involved in a lot because I was so isolated. I didn't want to... I think the most significant thing that happened in the time... do you know what? It's probably Terrance's birthday. So his 5th birthday happened 3 days after lockdown struck. And that was quite... the amount of phone calls we had that day, and like the fact that people were trying to bring presents over and things and putting them on our doorstep. And then obviously the month after that, we had obviously the photo done for Hold Still. And that's quite obviously a big remembering moment. There wasn't a lot of bad moments. I mean, like I said, Terrance refused to do home learning. But he was in reception, so it was just, obviously, I was learning with him. The local community definitely all sort of supported each other. And do you know what, going on walks as well, like just even saying hello to someone, like the uplifting and making sure that they were okay from across the street. We're like waving at people and just saying, hi, how are you? Because we'd all go for walks at the same sort of time. I think COVID changed the community slightly. Obviously, it's going back to where it was pre-COVID now, but I think during COVID and then maybe like last year, everyone was a lot more friendlier than what they have been. When I reflect back on COVID, I tend to look at my diary or I'll go back on my memories on like Facebook or something, and I definitely realise I'm a stronger person now than what I was when COVID was around and we were locked in doing nothing. Obviously, looking back at COVID when our children are a little bit older, or even when they have children, I think it would be interesting to teach them how we were as people back then, how we coped. So when I say like when we were people, we were all kind to each other. We all helped each other where we could. We didn't turn into animals. It wasn't savage. It wasn't horrible. It was a calm, happy neighbourhood environment. Generally, like a community was quite happy. During COVID, I definitely spoke a lot more to my child, and that's what I've learned a lot from that. Like, even going now 2 years after, I've learned to listen to him more. I've learned to understand him. I've learned how his brain works. If he says something's wrong, we talk about it and we go to wherever route we need to go down. My positive thing of lockdown was listen to you and listen to your family. So make sure that you're okay and make sure that your family are okay and that their mental health is okay. Negative thing, again, mental health. It was quite hard, and you learn how to cope with it. Feeling safe during COVID was not because my doctor was so over prescribed surgery, so I couldn't ever get through. But when I had a lot of support with my friends and family and things, and getting help for my mental health and just talking and writing it down helped a lot.